Hello there, Susan at Sassy Girl Beads here. And today, this video is going to talk about how to put crimp beads on your beading wire and show you the difference between using crimping pliers and not crimping pliers, just using regular pliers, what that quality difference will look like. All right, and so let me switch the camera here so we can just focus on what we're doing. Um, One of the things I didn't realize for a really long time is that the beading wire that you use will tell you what size of crimp beads that you should be using them with. I had no idea for quite a long time. And what I did in the beginning, I was just making things for myself anyways. So I was not super picky. When I first started, I was just excited about having lots of different pieces of jewelry to make for myself. But now that I'm making jewelry more for other people, I take that end quality in that's a much bigger deal for me now. All right, so with this particular wire, it says right on the package here to use either number 1 or number 2 for your crimping beads, and the crimp beads also are labeled with sizes. Again, I didn't know that for a really long time. So what I'm going to use today are these number 1 crimp beads, and I'm going to attempt to show you the difference between just using regular pliers as opposed to crimping pliers. All right, so I'm just going to feed on one of these little crimp beads here, just checking to make sure that my focus is still pretty good. And let's loop that around, poke it back inside, because oftentimes this is how I will finish up a piece. And so here we go. Back many years now, when I first started, when I first started beading, YouTube really wasn't a thing yet. And so I didn't have a lot of video opportunities for instructions. And so just kind of relied on some paper instructions and just my own gut instinct. And so when I first did this is not what I would recommend unless if you're just making jewelry for yourself and you're really trying to stick to a budget and you haven't had the opportunity to purchase crimping pliers yet. All you have is maybe a pair of pliers that you took out of your, out of a toolbox somewhere, and you're just, trying it out. You don't want to invest money. If you just crimp that down, if you just smash that crimping bead, smash it down, push it down hard. It does crimp. It crimps pretty flat. And honestly, for what I was using it for to begin with, making things just for myself, I wasn't too concerned with that little teeny tiny part because I knew I was never going to look at it again. And it does work. Like I can tug on this and that's crimped down. It is not going to come out. But it kind of looks like more of like a rectangular bead now, just kind of smushed at the end. It works. All you need is regular plain old pliers and you can do that. If you want more of a finished look, more of a look more professional look, and if you have, the opportunity to purchase some pliers specifically for crimping, you can make your crimp bead look a little bit more like a finished product. So, whoops. And so here's a pair of crimping pliers. I actually have 2 different sizes, and these are the smaller ones. But they've got 2 different parts here. So I'm going to kind of point to it here. The inside piece is where we're going to start. And there's like a half circle here with a little indentation here which is going to make kind of like a moon shape part for us. And then the second time I crimp it, I'm going to use this outer one that will kind of fold it together on itself. All right, so let's see what that looks like. So put the crimp bead on. I'm going to try to do this slow enough so it stays in focus there. Then I'm going to feed my wire back into it as if I were finishing my bracelet or necklace or whatever I was working on. So kind of feed that in there. Okay. The one thing that you want to try to avoid is you want to try to avoid crisscrossing those wires like mine are right now, the way I'm holding it. You want the wires to lay parallel so that the first time that we crimp down, you get one wire in each part. Okay. So that's why I'm trying to hold it. My wires are as parallel as I can get them. Let's flip it this. Oops, this was the right way. Maybe it needs to go one more. Hold on a second. I want to do this right. There we go. So I'm holding it. The wires are parallel. Okay, so the first time that I crimp this, I'm using the inside. A lot of times will set my crimp bead right on that plier. And then I'm going to smash down, crimp it, push it together. Hopefully that works out okay. Let's see if I can show you what I have here. Yeah, you can kind of see that. Let's focus it again. So that crimp bead is now like in the shape of a moon. Oh, darn it. Let's keep that here. There we go. So it's kind of in the shape of a moon. Now the next time when I crimp it together, it's going to pull those ends together. So it started off like, if using my fingers here, kind of exaggerated, but it kind of creates this moon shape, and then the second time it's going to smash it together, making it circular again. All right, so here we go. Now I'm using the outer part of the crimping pliers. Focus for you there. There we go. And then go ahead and crush it together. Sometimes I might have to like twist it around a little bit. But now, there we go. If we compare the two, this might be trickier than I thought, but if we compare the two, at first glance you might not really notice it. But the one on the left, that's the one, let me put it flat on the mat, maybe that would be better. The one on the left was just crushed down flat. The one on the right was the one I did with the crimping pliers, and they were the same size crimp bead, but you might be able to tell that the one on the right is now more circular, where the one on the left was smashed into a rectangle. Okay. So the one on the right looks more like a bead as opposed to just a piece of metal flattened out. So anyhow, if you have the opportunity to buy crimping pliers, I would highly recommend it. It makes your piece look more professional. It's just one little step to make things just a little nicer. But if you're on a budget and you're just making something for yourself and you're not sure if beading is the hobby you're going to do and you don't want to invest a lot of money, regular pliers will work. And I'm all about doing things within your budget. and especially till you know whether or not it's going to become an obsession. Mine is definitely an obsession, so I'm always looking for new ways to make things just a little better. All right, so there we go. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to put this out on YouTube. That's probably where you'll see it. But I'm Sassy Girl Beads, and I have a website, sassygirlbeads.com, beads with a Z. I'm also on Facebook, trying to get out there on Instagram a little bit, but definitely Facebook is where I focus. Or if you ever want to come shop in person, I have a huge stash of beads for sale here at my store. If I tip my camera a little bit back over there over my corner, you can see some of the beads that are strung there just waiting for somebody to have a project for them. All right, hope you all have a great day. Happy beading.